20-mile-per-hour speed limit. Luckily, everyone's really pleased with it, and it's gone down very well.
It's been a soaring success. Nothing to say about it. No reaction whatsoever, and everybody's just driving a little slower. We're 10 days now post implementation, and the man who is kind of the face of it, Lee Waters, the Deputy Climate Change Minister, will this afternoon stand up in the Senate and defend his position because he's facing a no confidence vote. Now that vote is likely to fail because he's a Welsh Labour minister, and he will be backed by his own party and also Plaid Cymru. But it's indicative of the kind of rancour that has come out as a result of this. The Welsh Conservatives continuously calling it a blanket 20-mile-an-hour ban and accusing the Labour Party and the Welsh Government of having an anti-motorist, anti-growth agenda. But in actual terms, speaking purely as a driver, it seems to have been fairly straightforward, I would say. I drove very long distances at the end of last week and over the weekend, and more than a couple of 100 miles of that was in Wales. And in the total of that time, I spent 2 miles in a 20-mile-an-hour zone. And the overall the analysis so far, I think, of the first week suggested that average journey times were between 45 and 63 seconds longer. And I know we're all pushed for time, but I think we can probably all spare a minute in the day. So it has, at some point you feel like it will settle down because it has to. And at some point there will be, we did an extensive interview with Lee Waters yesterday, and he talked about the fact that there are exemptions in place, and they almost expected more, I think, councils to apply for exemptions. So it's likely that some roads where the kind of 20-mile-an-hour maybe has been a little bit of an overkill, there probably will be a tick back to a few roads going back to 30.
Back the other way. Yeah.
But as with anything, there will always be some kind of teething problems. But so far the petition against it is at 437,000, I think, which is fairly extraordinary. The most ever signed petition in the history of the Senate. So it's got people talking for sure.
Yeah, and it's clearly a sign, certainly the Conservatives, in the same way they sort of